In this video, we'll be diving into why your meta ads don't get any spend and why this might actually be a good thing for some and a really bad thing for others, depending on your particular circumstance and where your ad account is right now. I get this comment a lot, which is that the more creatives I go and launch, the less they even get shown within the CBO. So as you go and try to crank up creative volume, you just end up getting no spend in those ads. And you think, well, why am I even spending all this time, resource, energy, money on creating 10, 20, 100 new ads when I go and put them in the account and they don't even get any spend anyway? Well, let's answer that first. Why don't the ads get spend? Then let's go into, can you fix that? And then when would you actually want to fix that and break out your structure so that you can force spend through individual ads? So why aren't your ads getting spent? Let's assume in this case you're using an Advantage Plus. Okay, you can sub this out for CBO, ADO, anything. Let's just assume that we're going Advantage Plus, then down to the ad level. And you go and launch ad A, B, C, and D to keep this simple. What will happen is in the first 48 hours, all of these ads will get relatively the same amount of spend, assuming they've never been launched in the account before. And then after about 48 hours, Meta will start deciding which ads it's going to prioritize. And what will end up happening is when you come and have a look into the account, you will see ad A with maybe $500 in spend, ad B will have $300, and then let's say the other ones have close to zero. They spent $10, $20, and then Meta decided to distribute away. Why is this happening? And particularly, you might go in here and be this person right here and go, oh, okay, I need to launch more ads. That's what everyone says. That's what all the content is about these days. More ads, more ads, more ads. Okay, I come in, I'll launch some more ads. I'll go E, F, G. These get a little bit of spend, $10, $20, and then they go pretty much down to zero daily spend. And so these end up at zero as well. And then you go, okay, well, that didn't fix the issue. We're still not very profitable on this campaign. Every time I try to launch ads, they don't get any spend. What is going on? Is this a good or bad thing? The way that the spend distribution algorithm works, to really simplify it down, obviously we have a 40-minute video on how machine learning works within meta ads. It's one of the top performing videos on the channel. You can go watch that if you want a lot more detail on this process. But to keep it very simple, when Meta looks at your ads that are currently active, it's optimizing across whatever the objective is at the ad set or the campaign level. And so in this case, we might be running on maximize for conversions, which is the default optimization anytime you set up a campaign. So from there, what it's effectively doing is it's trying to find the lowest CPA. Whichever ad can drive the lowest cost per action or cost per purchase, it will distribute spend to. So this becomes fairly obvious at its surface, and it goes deeper than this, which is that at its surface, you go, okay, well, these ads are getting spend because they produce the best CPA. But what will end up being the case, and this will be the case in your account right now, you can go and have a look, is that of these two ads up here that are getting all the spend, one of these might have, let's say, a $19 CPA, and then the next one here might have even lower, but just to keep this simple, let's say it's at a $21 CPA. And now you're looking at this and wondering, well, this still doesn't make sense to me, because why would Meta be going and putting $300 into ad B when ad A is actually outperforming it? If it's running on lowest CPA, if it's trying to maximize conversions, shouldn't it just go and put more spend here? And the answer is no, because what it's actually optimizing for is the best CPA at the entire campaign or ad set level, which is based on incremental returns as you continue to drive spend into an ad. So if we go and zoom into ad A in particular, and we look at this ad, and let me just move this around, and we have spend on the y-axis. Let's call this daily spend. And then on the x-axis, let's just have time. So let's move through into the future. You launch this campaign and it will go and distribute $10 to $20 a day to the ad. And what it will find is that this has the best CPA out of anything. And so it will go and start increasing spend. And then what will end up happening at some point is that the CPA will go higher than another ad. And in that case, it will pull back spend so that it can put that incremental spend into the better performing ad. And so if we say that this is ad A, we can then go and model out ad B spend distribution. So ad B also comes out of the gates it also goes, okay, the CPA is good here, but it's nowhere near as good as ad A. And then what it finds out is that at this point, your CPA up here goes to, let's say, $27, but the CPA down here is still really good. And so rather than continuing to spend on an ad that's incrementally less profitable, it just continues to put spend into this ad. And then it maybe finds its plateau. And so the idea here is that if you went and put this $300 into ad A, you would have a worse blended result over the campaign as a whole, because ad A can't hold any more spend without giving you a worse return than ad B. Now, what that ends up meaning is that if you then go to the campaign level and you go and crank spend up, so let's say this is spending $200 per day in its current state, and let's say you go and crank this up to $600 per day. What will actually happen is this problem right here will get solved, because one of these ads, as long as they're not terrible ads, will probably start outperforming these ads spending $600 per day. You'll probably be able to get maybe a $25 or a $26 CPA out of one of these. And so what will end up happening is that these ads will start to spend. And so you'll actually start to see these ads tick up and spend. Now, not all of them, but whichever ones are the best comparative to the ads that are currently spending, they'll start to get spend. So it's all relative to the expected CPA outcome of the ads that are currently spending. So what does this actually mean? Well, it means that these ads aren't necessarily performing under KPI. They aren't necessarily performing poorly and you don't want spend in them. They're simply underperforming against the highest performing ads within the account. And so if you are performing well above target, so you're really happy with the CPA that you're currently at, let's say the target's $30 and this is crushing at 19 to 21, you could very much so go and take all of these ads right here and you could pull them out into their own dedicated campaign. And the idea here would be that we want to force spend into these ads to see, well, what is the CPA when we just pull them out and give them spend? And we might find here that the CPA is $29. Now, this is bad for the original campaign because we can get a way better CPA on these ads. But respective to the entire business and the actual CAC goals of the company, this is fine. And so if we can push more spend into these ads and it gives us a little bit of variation in the account and we can operate at a CPA that's okay, this might be a decision worth doing. However, it is worth noting that if you just go and crank the spend in the primary campaign anyway, this will happen. These ads will start getting spend, CPA will bleed up, but it's because these ads can't hold incrementally more spend, so it starts to introduce the others. What this also allows is it de-risks the ad sets fatigue. And I've seen this time and time again. I see it pretty much every week in ad sets that we are managing within accounts that are very diversified like this. And so what I will see is an ad set that maybe has 5 ads within it. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ad A and B will be holding all of spend for quite a while. Let's call it 5 weeks. They're holding all of the spend. And you would then make the conclusion, looking at this ad set, that, okay, these ads down here don't really matter. They're underperforming. I don't have to worry about them. I shouldn't replicate those ads in future. But what that ends up happening is ad A and B eventually fatigue, particularly if you're in, let's say, B2B, and that's a very small target demographic that you're targeting. These end up fatiguing and falling off. And then as they fall off, C, D, and E then go and kick in. And you actually see the spend here go from almost nothing to taking over all the spend in the ad set. Now, these might not perform as well as ad A, right? Let's say this was at a $100 CPA, and these are at a $120 CPA. But as long as this is a target, this gives longevity to the ad set and allows us to run it for another 6 weeks. And so rather than having an ad set or a campaign set up that then dies within 5 weeks and we quickly have to pivot, it gives us 11 weeks of duration. And so just because an ad isn't getting spend doesn't mean it's not doing a job within the account. It's ultimately there to fall back on when the high performers start to fatigue. So now the question ultimately becomes, do you just allow Meta to decide all the distribution of your spend? Do you just run one Advantage Plus campaign, drop all of your ads in there, which I've heard some people recommending, and then just hope for the best over time? It depends on the stage in which your account's at. And this is a really important consideration. And the reason being is that if you're a relatively new business, and let's define this by sub $50,000 per month in ad spend. They can make this lower or higher, but this is a rough gauge. What ends up happening here is that you really can't get that much creative volume through $50,000 worth of spend. I have seen consultants come in and tell our clients that at this spend level, you should be launching 500-600 ads per month. And my question is just, how do you do that effectively at this level of spend? How can Meta really truly go and test 600 new ads per month with this amount of spend in the account, particularly when there's already 2-3 high-performing winners that are consuming $45,000 of this spend? Like, in my opinion, it's just ridiculous, and you're throwing junk volume into the account that's never truly being tested. Now, you can make the argument that, well, once those high performers start to fall off, you have 600 ads to fall back on that Meta can distribute spend across, for sure. But do you really need 600 net new assets every single month on an account like this? Probably not. It's probably overkill. You're probably going to spend tons of money doing it for really not much delta in the upside. So instead, what happens? Well, you put less creative into the account. Let's say at about this spend, you're maybe at 100 net new creatives per month. And from here, you can start to actually structure the account out to where you can at least force a little bit of spend into ads to get a gauge on CPAs. Because the danger of taking 100 creatives and just throwing it in an Advantage Plus campaign, and that's all that's running in the account, is that these 100 creatives won't get any spend, and so you don't get any learnings. And so the next month, when you go to your creative team or you go to your agency and you say, hey, we need another 100 creatives, and they go, okay, cool, what worked last month? You go, well, nothing got ad spend, so I guess nothing worked. And that's not true. Some of these ads would have done much better than some of the other ads, but you don't have the data collection in place because you're just throwing it in one campaign and you can't actually collect data because you're not forcing spend. And so there is an argument here that you do actually want to then go and break out whether this is a testing campaign and these are different ad sets, or whether you're running multiple Advantage Plus campaigns. You're running 5 or 6 Advantage Plus campaigns split by concepts, split by personas, split by creative types, whatever makes sense for your business, so that you can actually get spend forced through these ads and you can get an assessment on, okay, the user-generated content last month did incredibly well with this kind of script writing. The statics did really poorly, comparative. We spent, let's say, we put $1,000 through the statics and blended CPA was let's do $80, and then we put $1,000 through UGC as well. We forced it through those ads, and blended CPA was 60, so it was about 30% lower. So this is where we're going to prioritize our focus for next month's development. Now, where this matters less in terms of forcing spend through ads is once you get up to much higher spend levels. And so if you instead are spending at, let's just jump straight up to 200K plus per month. What ends up happening is that at this level, winners fatigue quite quickly because you just have so much daily spend going through them. Now, this is primarily the case in the Australian region just because Australia isn't that big, and so the TAM is quite small, and so you run through ads quite quickly. When it goes into the US, you just have to scale the numbers up, so maybe this comes to 300,000-400,000 per month when you start fatiguing winners quite quickly. But when you're fatiguing winners very quickly, Meta ends up distributing more spend into other ads, as explained down here. And so these winners will hit a CPA, essentially erosion limit, or like where they go exponential in terms of incremental cost to serve. And so it will start to distribute spend into other ads. And so we generally find that you can get away with having more consolidated structures here and just throwing tons of ad volume into these structures because all of these other ads will actually get spend because the actual budgeting on the campaign is so high. And so to bring this video to a conclusion, the reason why your Meta ads don't get any spend is because Meta can achieve a better incremental CPA on 20% or less of your ads comparative to the other 80%. The way that you get it to spend more is that you increase budgets so that these winners start to hit their limit in terms of reach, and it will start distributing budgets to other ads. Now, is this necessarily a good idea? It depends on the stage of the business. If you're a small business, you probably want creative feedback cycles when you're putting new ads into the account, or else you don't know how to iterate in the right direction. In which case, splitting the account up and getting forced spend through ads, even though it might decrease total blended efficiency a little bit, it will increase your ability to iterate effectively moving forward in time, which is probably going to yield you better gains. Vice versa, if you have really high-end budgets, this problem starts to get solved because you'll start to hit those limits in terms of how wide the winners can go at those budgets, and you'll get better spend distribution across the Advantage Plus. We see this across pretty much every account. You look at a 200K plus account, Advantage Plus is spending on 20 ads effectively. You look at a 20K, 30K a month account, Advantage Plus has one ad that's really holding up the entire campaign and everything else isn't getting spent.